I'm not going to be long. I just want to touch on a hot topic that everybody's talking about. I'm going to give my 2 cents. Before I do, I want to remind you that we are still in the midst of a fundraiser for the work we do in the community, specifically Black Men Lead, a rite of passage initiative, and the inclusion of wraparound services for Black men ages 4 to 30 and beyond, as well as Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughter, a program focused on helping to heal young Black women who have suffered from a number of different forms of trauma and some other things, but definitely the link is going to be in the description box. You can also give to the organization through our Cash App account. Okay, by now, everybody under the sun has heard about the fact that Will Smith walked up on stage and smacked Chris Rock. Now, initially, there were a lot of people. Of course, I didn't watch the Oscars, but it didn't take long for me to know something had happened. So I kind of looked up to see what everybody was talking about, and I was like, okay. No, I didn't watch it, even though I knew there were a couple of blacks that were up, including Will, up for Oscar bids. While I'm pretty sure it's important to them, it's not important to me. If I like an actor and I believe they're putting in good work, I like an actor and I believe they're putting in good work. They're not validated by anything somebody else thinks. I judge people based on where I'm at. And I think that the Oscars has never been a true representation of the talent that we have brought forth and so much more. And rather than yelling and screaming and begging them to acknowledge who we are, I just stopped giving validation to it. But nevertheless, that's their industry, that's their profession, and that's the most recognized acknowledgement as far as an award is concerned. So I understand why they're invested in it. But I wasn't watching it, but didn't take long. You got all these alerts popping up from all of your different accounts talking about it, from news to social media. And then with me being a part of the media, I get it on wires. I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? So I check it out, and initially people thought it was staged, but if you could look at it, you can see on the face of Will, he was serious as hell when he told him to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. And I'm paraphrasing there, big time paraphrasing. And you can also see on her face before Will went up there that she wasn't comfortable with what was going on. Now, I'm going to talk about this from a couple of different perspectives. First and foremost, a man's need to defend his woman, and the conversation about marriage and how people deal with their marriage and what's going on, and the whole, why didn't he slap August Alsina, blah, blah, blah. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to deal with the easiest one. Why didn't he slap August Alsina? Absolutely love that kid, by the way, August, as an artist. And, the fact that he's raising his sister's children after they passed away and, dealing with his own illnesses. The thing with August is complicated. And by complicated, I mean that, from what I understand, there were a couple of things going on. Will and Jada was on a break for whatever reason. And there was a lot of things. There's always been things going on in that relationship. And Jada has always been Jada, and it comes with complications. Well, whatever was going on, Will was looking at this kid as a friend of his son and someone that they were kind of like taking under their wing. And the whole time, Jada was using, I forgot what they call her mom, but she was using her sort of like as a cover to have August around in ways that August shouldn't have been around. And we know what happened. And so people are saying, well, why did he smack August around? Well, number one, that was an extramarital situation that they decided to handle in the way they did. They went public with it and talked about it because everybody and their mom, for whatever reason, knew about it because August decided to out it. So it couldn't be kept under wraps. We don't know what happened behind closed doors. We don't know that Will didn't slap August. We don't know that Will didn't come to blows with August. We don't know what happened because that happened behind closed doors. The part of it that you would think, well, where he first found out when he was probably angry, we don't know. We may never know. It wasn't said. We only know it happened because August put it out, and then they decided to come on and try to PR the situation. That's the first thing. Second of all, it's two totally different situations. One is your wife went out and did something. Now you got to decide whether or not you are going to stay with her or not and deal with that. But while, you probably have beef with dude, your wife chose that. So you got to determine whether you see value in your wife and whether you want to work it out. And that's a decision that's between the two people involved, whether they see enough value in their marriage to continue to work on it, or if that cheating is a deal breaker. Now, from what I understand, and I haven't read the book, Will admits that there's two different stories floating around, and because I haven't read the book, I don't know which one is true. One is Will has admitted to cheating on her, but on the other is I heard him say in an interview about the book that there has never been infidelity in the relationship. I'm saying, what about the entanglement? He's not counting that because they were supposedly on a break. He was hurt by it because he was misled to think that dude was someone else. He's not the first person. And this is not me advocating from any one person. This is me talking about a situation and why it's relevant to me. Okay, so those are the things that a lot of people say. Why he didn't do? Why all of a sudden why he popping off and slapping Chris Rock? And the whole thing was he smacked somebody that was smaller than him. Well, August is smaller than him too. So it wasn't one didn't get it because Will was scared of him because they're both the same size, pretty much. They're thin people, and here's my take on why. You're in a public situation and you're making his wife uncomfortable. No matter what you think about his wife, it's his wife. And you're making her feel uncomfortable. And she's visibly uncomfortable about it. Now let's look at why she's visibly uncomfortable about it and why he may be taking it in the way that he took it. She suffers from alopecia. Now on the surface, alopecia seems like, okay, while it's annoying, and alopecia is when you start to lose your hair, especially prevalent with females. It happens to men too, but balding with men isn't as big of a deal as it would be with a woman, as you can expect. But alopecia is where your hair starts to thin and starts to fall out in clumps. And so she ends up having to shave her head. Now, what people don't understand is oftentimes alopecia is a symptom of a much more severe issue. And in many instances, it's an autoimmune condition that will inflame and cause alopecia to flare up. And so there may be a more severe situation. Now, but we also know that she has been very vocal about her image issues because of the alopecia. And she's been vocal about that for more than a year, and no telling how long those issues have been prevalent before she came out about it. And so Will is probably, being the person that's most closest to her, keenly aware of how she feels about it and how insecure she may feel and uncomfortable she may feel. And if it happens to be tied to something more severe, like something like an autoimmune issue that could even be life-threatening, yeah, he's going to be edgy about it. I know I would. And there are people saying, well, that should have been handled off stage. See, the only reason that a lot of people are saying it should have been handled off stage because we're still worried about what white people think. I get it, this was a situation where a lot of black involvement. I think Ryan Coogler produced it. I take it back. It wasn't Michael Coogler. It was Will Packer. Will Packer produced it. A great deal of the crew was black, so it was a lot of black people working that night, a lot of black names tacked on and stuff. And we want to give a good show. We want to give a representation. The last thing we want to see is black man slapping another black man on national television. I get it. But the whole reason we don't want that has nothing to do with none of us. It has everything to do with how we're going to be perceived by them. I can give a damn. My thing is, I get it. He is a comedian. He is a comedian, and comedians get to say things that are edgy, and they get to come back. And for a long time, nobody was off limits. But there are certain things that comedians know. Sometimes things happen, and you know it's too soon, and people are probably not going to perceive it in the right way. Then there are certain things where you're going to go somewhere, and you may get a laugh out of it, but you're going to really make an enemy. And he would not be the first comedian who has gotten checked physically or even had their life threatened because of something they said. So, yes, he has the license as a comedian to come out and say it, but you understand there's backlash that often comes with controversial things that you say. So when he said it, and he doubled down, because the first time he said it, Will was still kind of smiling, trying to play it off. She was very uncomfortable, when they're showing it. And some people in the audience was booing because Chris was like, got his arms out like, what'd I say? So that was the clue that you might want to move on to the next joke. But he came back and he doubled down. And there comes a point with a man and where you can't make him feel like he's not protecting his wife in front of his wife. Now, some men, they coming after you. You got anything bad to say or anything to say about he's coming no matter what. She don't even have to know he's coming. Then there are guys that, okay, you're making me look like a bitch in front of my woman. You got my woman uncomfortable, and I'm sitting right next to her. So now you're not only disrespecting her, you're disrespecting me. And so now I have no other choice but to come check you. And you got to understand that this kid has grown up. I'm calling him a kid. I'm not that much older than him. But he grown up. But this kid is from West Philly. So, he's grown up. And, he's become this icon or whatever you want to call him. And, people, think, he's exceptional at what I think he's good. I think he's nailed a couple of movies that he just knocked it out of the box that he should already have an Oscar. I don't even know if he got the Oscar last night. That's how much I pay attention and I don't watch it. I don't even know if he won the Oscar after that, but somebody said that he came up and he apologized. So I'm assuming he won something because he apologized, but I heard he apologized to everybody except Chris Rock. And again, that's all about clearing up and everything like that. It shows that he still has some ill will and animosity towards Dude because Dude chose to come to do that. That wasn't something Chris Rock had to do. And maybe Chris Rock was unaware of the fact that she has an issue with that. I've seen Will stomach a lot of stuff. So to sit up and say that he just saw a weak person and decided to slap him, I don't think so, because I've heard all kind of questions about entanglements over the last, since that thing came out. They get that question everywhere they go, and they take it on the chin. Even you can tell it's uncomfortable, and they take it on the chin. This wasn't about entanglements. This wasn't about his wife cheating on him. This was about his wife being sick and uncomfortable with the line of dialogue, and he went to her defense. To me, it's real simple. When you mess with me or mine, I'm not trying to be politically correct. I'm not trying to be polite. I'm not giving a damn about what nobody else thinks. I'm coming for you, because the one thing I cannot have as a man and call myself a man is a woman who can't respect me because I can't protect her. If you want to see the old Rick, the fastest way to get the old Rick is not coming directly at me, because I'm always setting myself above the bullshit. But the fastest way to get the old Rick is to try my family, especially my wife. I am going to touch you. There's no way about it. And there's no limit to how far I'll go to stop you. And I think that we need more men to stand up. This isn't applauding what he did. This isn't sitting up. What I'm sitting up saying is, I don't owe you some kind of license to disrespect me or my wife. I don't give a shit what your profession is. And I know, for instance, I know my wife's quirks or insecurities. I know the things that get to her. And I'm damn well defensive of it. I'm defensive of my wife with our kids. My number one job is to protect her. Before I'm a provider, I'm a protector. The one thing I can do if I'm reasonably healthy, no matter what, is protect. Sometimes something may happen with the business. Something may happen with revenue generation. And I may be in a place where I can't give the way I want to give financially. But if I'm breathing and I can stand up, I can protect. It's the one thing I can do just by effort and will. And so that one thing always has to be consistent. And so it's looking at her face and then how he responds to it. If it would have been him cracking jokes about the entanglement, I probably would have a different opinion. Number one is, after it came out, the whole entanglement thing was brought on by her. She is the one that said entanglement. She is the one that put him out there and had him obviously uncomfortable about what happened with her in August. And, basically had a lot of people who turned against her at that point. That joke wasn't about that. The moment that this man stood up and said, you know what, I'm putting August, I seen a thing behind us, we still going to be husband and wife. Then at that point, he's still her husband and he still has a responsibility to her. He can't sit up and say, well, if you would have did that stuff to me, I'd have went up there and checked that fool. No, if that's the way you feel about it, you should have let her go. But if you're going to sit up and stay, she's still your wife. Your responsibilities are still the same. You don't get to go half responsibility now because we had some issues. No, that's not how it works. So, yeah, I from where I'm sitting, I think that because it happened on a huge stage, on one of the biggest nights of the year, the biggest night of the year for his profession, that people are going to have all kind of slanted views. And I've heard a bunch of radio shows, with the hosts weighing in on, this and that. The bottom line is you got a right to say what you want to say, but it comes with consequences. If you say the wrong thing about the LGBT community, they're probably not going to walk up on the stage and slap you, but they're going to boycott the hell out of you. They're going to try to get you canceled. There's consequences to saying things about people and about groups and about everybody, and you have to be willing to deal with those consequences. So at the moment you decide to go after this man's wife with him sitting there, you have to be willing to deal with the consequences. I think that on the flip side, Chris Rock saved the night because it could have been a whole different type of things. And we still haven't seen the fallout because he could still press charges. He could still file a civil suit. And I think Will will pay for that one. Honestly, the civil suit. And then, it's going to be interesting how it plays out. But at the end of the day, I think probably to me, what was the most disrespectful thing of all is he hit him with an open hand. That to me, that's like the most disrespectful thing a man can do to another man is slap him. Punch me, dog. Don't slap me. I think that was like, man, did he just slap him? I mean, to me, that was that was like, I'm returning the disrespect. To me, that's what it was. I'm not going to treat you like a whole man. I'm going to slap you. And, here's my thing. When you come after a man and his wife or his family and his kids or his mother and his father, you got to be prepared for what comes back at you. good or bad. You got to be prepared for it. There's no guard that's going to stop you from getting that work when you cross the wrong person at the wrong time. And that just happened to be the wrong time. It's crazy, and I don't know what the fallout all will be, but I'm pretty sure it's not over yet. But that's my take on it. This is just my opinion, because a person's own character and their own set of values will determine how they deal with it. And I'm not telling anyone who thinks differently that they're wrong. I'm just telling you as a man how I'm going to respond if you mishandle my woman. And it's very few things that get me out of character now. I was that fool back in the day. I still got the scars to prove it. And there's other people wearing scars too. But I outgrew it, and I became wise, and I learned that every fight isn't meant to be fought. That I don't have to prove to every person how bad I am, or that what they can say and can't say. And I eventually got to the point to where someone did or said about me mattered very little. But if you mess with mine, I'm going to touch you. And I'm willing to die to get to you. So if you're not willing to die, to me, one of my favorite lines comes from the movie Wallace. And there are these three brothers. The two older brothers are killers, straight killers. The youngest brother is smart, but he doesn't have a killer instinct or the ability to be violent in him. But he gets beat real bad, and his cousin gets killed. And the older brother asks him, what is he going to do about it? And he looks at him and says, I'm not like you and Howard. I'm not violent. I don't know how to respond to this. I'm not that. And he gets over and he walks over to him and he says, it's not the violence that sets a man apart. It's the distance he is prepared to go. And see, when you got a man that's prepared to go the distance, you better be ready to go too when you cross him. See, a bunch of people will cross you, but they're not ready to go the distance. They're not ready to get where you're ready to get to return serve. And so that's the thing. When you sit up, something else I've always said, when you cross somebody, you don't get to dictate how they respond. That idea that all I did was slap you, you can't punch me, you can't shoot me. No, the moment you violate me, you don't get to choose how I respond. You don't get to set a level of retaliation. No, if you violate me and you purposely violate me, I have the right to do whatever I feel like to you, because you had no business violating me. People need to get off of that. People think they could. That's one of the reasons that white people really trip out when they cross you, when they do something disrespectful to you in public, and then you get dead in it, and they go, "Oh my God, oh woman." No, you thought, yeah, no. See, you done spit me, you done kick me, whatever. I'm finna mollywop that ass. At the very minimum, you're gonna remember this the rest of your life. This is the day that you passed one lick and got 25 in return. Absolutely. You got to understand that. It's better to leave people alone, because you don't know where they're at. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know how they're feeling at the time. And you might get way more than you anticipated. On that note, I'm out of here. As I said at the beginning, don't forget to show love and support the work we're doing at the Odyssey Project, especially with Black Men Lead and Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters. The link is in there. You can also give through the organization's Cash App account. On that note, I'm out of here.